Good evening, friends, and welcome to an exciting Friday evening. Well, I am Vedavati Shetty coming to you from Pune and absolutely honored and excited to be hosting tonight's podcast brought to you by the holistic health program, which is NutriLive 360, Best of Health, Best of Fitness. What we can do to improve our health span. We're not talking about lifespan, but the quality of life, health span. We will aim to get answers to this through a series of questions put across to our expert speaker, who is also our special mentor for this program. Tonight, we will be talking to a legend who has valued his health proactively and deliberately, enabling an illustrious sporting career internationally. Was it discipline, right mindset, right nutrition, exercises, what was it? How did he ensure that he took care of his health span to have a longer than many other sporting career? His sporting career spanned across 40 years. We are going to be in conversation for the next 30 odd minutes with none other than Farokh Tarapore. He's an ex-naval officer, a double world champion in the sport of sailing. He has represented India in 3 Olympics and 8 Asian Games, winning multiple medals, gold, silver, bronze, name it, everything. He's recipient of the Arjuna Award, the prestigious Arjuna Award and Chhatrapati Shivaji Award, amongst many other, medals and awards. Please switch on your cameras and with a thundering applause, help me welcome Farokh Tarapore on this virtual stage. Farokh, good evening, and thank you so much for taking your time out to speak to us.
Thank you, Veda, for that kind introduction. It's always an honor to be here.
Thank you, Farokh. So, friends, let's get on. We did ask for questions from folks. I received a few, so I'm going to be, asking your questions as well here. Farokh, being part of this community, where we are on a joint mission of Har Ghar Tandurust and Har Ghar Medicine Free, we connect with many people, who are suffering from various lifestyle diseases like cholesterol, bolo, triglycerides, any cardiovascular diseases, fatty liver. I don't know. So many are coming up every day, but they're starting to have it even as early as 30s. In fact, of late, recently, I've also heard of a couple of deaths at my age, in the 40s, due to heart attacks or even with cancers and all. Right. So, through your exposure and experience, your sporting career, especially, you're also helping so many communities, and I know you do a lot of research. Can you please help us understand why is this phenomenon, increasing day by day?
Yeah, it's a very good question, a very pertinent one. And the main reason why this is happening is because lifestyles have changed. And, we have grown up in an environment where the entire focus was on that if you're not feeling well, go to a doctor, and the doctor is supposed to, give you the medicine, is supposed to wave the magic wand, and you're supposed to. All right, this is the culture and this is the thought process with which which we have grown up. So I don't blame people because, this is what they know and this is what they have been told to do by the society. But just think about it rationally. How can medicine really help a lifestyle problem? Everything that you just mentioned today, okay, these are all lifestyle problems. Okay, let's take it step by step. Step number one, okay, I've always maintained on this platform that if you give the body the right amount of nutrition and the right amount of exercise, not too much and not too little, you'd have found the safest way to health. Right. Now, this is the basic foundation. What do you think has happened? Let's first start with nutrition. Okay. There is genetically modified food, there is processed food, there is refined food, there's super refined food. It's not only that, that's not the only thing that's hurting. But what is also hurting is that people are consuming food at the wrong times. And when people are consuming food at the wrong times, they are not realizing the kind of damage that they are doing. Also, because of technology, food is now available. Okay, it may be processed, it may be refined, it may be fast food, it may be junk food. You can call it whatever fancy name you want. Okay, but that's not good, healthy food. In fact, why do you talk about junk food? Talk about the normal fruits and vegetables that are available in the market. If you just walk down, into a market and you'll see the quality of the fruits and vegetables, you will get depressed because you know that this doesn't look anything like that's come from an organic farm, and brought to you. I've also maintained this statement over and over again on this platform that if you live on the healthiest thing to do is to live in an organic farm. There are a lot of people who lived above 100, had their own organic farms. But let's be honest, is it realistic? How many of us have the option, okay, or the luxury to live on an organic farm, grow your own organic fruits and vegetables, and only eat that stuff, and that too eating all that stuff at the right time? So first, the nutrition is compromised heavily, right from the fruits and vegetables to all the processed food that is going. I mean, I'm sure everybody on this platform would have seen enough WhatsApp videos and all showing even eggs are now coming out of plastic. All right. So gradually, it's all going to become like plastic food. So like you're just eating to fill your stomach, not realizing that every time when you're doing it, you're doing harm. Let's take a simple example. If you're, let's say, 50 years old and you've just had 3 meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, all right, your pancreas secrete insulin so that the sugar that is lying in your blood, okay, can be transferred into the cell so that that can be stored as energy for the future. For the sugar to go into the cell, you need insulin. So a healthy body will release the right amount of insulin depending upon the sugar levels in the blood. Higher the sugar levels, the more insulin it will immediately produce, and you get the reserve energy. Now just take another example of a person who's also 50 years old. But that person has had breakfast, lunch, dinner, also had a snack in between. Oh, I feel hungry, so I must eat something. Ate a biscuit between breakfast and lunch, had tea and snacks, pakodas and samosas and, the samosas and batata vadas have really done great damage to this country. Okay. And then later on, before sleeping, I always feel I have to eat something. Now imagine that person has eaten 6 times in a day. The pancreas has basically lived for 100 years. So sometimes the pancreas is going to turn on and say, hey, I've had enough here of your nonsense. I'm going to pack up. That's how people start off with pre-diabetes and diabetes and other lifestyle diseases. Okay. So let's get one part out of the way, nutrition. All right. So this is one of the reasons for all these lifestyle problems. The second problem is everything is becoming more and more convenient. Convenience is overrated. In fact, it has become so overrated and life has become so convenient that I have to now actually, like search in my brain to become inconvenient. Okay. A healthy person is comfortable being being uncomfortable. So I got to start thinking, what can I do further? Anything is very easy. I try to, put a little bit of more of a step into it. Everything is so convenient. Everything is so easy. Chairs are on rollers. You're hardly moving. People are hardly moving. Now, we are not a plant. There's this plant behind me. It's purposely kept over there. Okay. The plant can't move. But we human beings were not designed to be steady. We were designed to move. And because we are not moving enough, we have to deliberately exercise. You can be a person with a lot of money. This case of Rakesh Chunchunwala, none of his, tens of thousands of crores helped him to live for even one extra second. What is the use of it now? You're 6 feet under the ground. So exercise is a very important thing, and we have to now not only look at it as an exercise point of view, but with the present scenario, the change in the lifestyle, we have to be deliberate about it. I can assure you that if you're not deliberate, you're never going to do it. I'm not a strong, I don't hate gyms, but neither am I a believer in gyms. You can do all your exercises in the house. You can do your exercises in your office. You can do it. In fact, it reminds me of a very good sailor, okay, who was competing at the Asian Games, and he wanted to strengthen his thigh muscles, and he wanted to check, okay, how long can he sit out in that, awkwardly high position on his boat. So what he did was that he threw away his chair, he took a part of that boat, cut it, made a simulator kind of a thing, and he used that boat as his office chair. So he was hiking while he was in the office. All right. So, I mean, if people, of course, that guy was highly motivated because he wanted to win the gold medal. All right. I can understand that everybody will not be so motivated, but at least you got to start thinking that, hey, my health is my responsibility and I need to take care of it. Because you can be rich, you can be a politician, you can be, royalty, but you still have to do the exercise yourself. There's nothing, you cannot pay somebody to do exercise for you. There is no magic pill yet discovered by science where they say, okay, take this pill instead of an exercise. It's just not there. So nutrition is point one, exercise is point two, and the third and the major point, okay, is rest. All right. People just have, you today have completely lost the concept of sleeping, early to bed, early to rise concept. Today, the youth is go to bed in the morning and get up at afternoon. Now, that doesn't help the body either. Okay. When you're in your teens, you'll get away with it. When you're in your 20s, you'll get away with it. But you are gradually setting yourself up for a disaster like what you just mentioned. You've just seen, people falling dead and people having this lifestyle diseases which were unheard of 50 years ago. And they all overbanking on medication. I mean, I got nothing against medication, right? But try and understand a lifestyle challenge is best sorted out by changing lifestyle, not by, being over dependent on medication. So when people understand this and start understanding, and that's what this whole community is all about, we try and make people understand, we try and change their mindset. Because once you change their mindset, I'm sure no one's going to do everything that we talk about on this community. But at least when you're doing something wrong, you'll be aware. And because you are aware, you may subconsciously or out of sheer guilt, maybe do a little less harm to your body. Okay. Which is a lot better than doing more harm to your body. It's all relative. Okay. So these are the things, okay, which are playing a huge role. And of course, one of the more important things is hydration. Hydration is another factor which people have lost concept about. You see, what used to happen earlier, that people were out in the sun, people were out, on the fields, so they were automatically thirsty. It was because they had lack of water. They had to really search for water, carry their water, and things like that. But now what's happened is that because people are mainly indoors or in air-conditioned cars, they don't realize that the body is getting dehydrated slowly. And when the body starts getting dehydrated, you start making unbelievable errors. Trust me, friends, I'm talking to you, at the highest level of sports. I have seen people dehydrated and making an error. They get so disoriented that they make an error in judging right from left. That means they think, sometimes that the right is left and left is right. So if these super athletes with super bodies and with great body composition and great fat percentage and muscle and really strong, really alert in their minds and full of energy can face this, can you imagine what would happen to an average person? Okay, you're asking for disaster. Again, there is a lot of misinformation on the internet. People say drink 2 liters, etc. Just think about it logically. How can a girl who's weighing 45 kilos and a man who's weighing 95 kilos would need the same amount of water? Come on now. This is not rocket science. Use common sense. So that is the reason why you need to know what are the levels of dehydration and what are the levels of overhydration. And the best way to determine that, okay, what is the amount required for you, is to check your urine color. If your urine color is colorless, that means you're overhydrating. Start drinking less water. And if your urine color is really dark yellow, that means you're underhydrated. Start taking in a little bit of more water. And one rule of the thumb, as far as nutrition and hydration is concerned, make sure you're ahead of the game. You take your water in before you need it. The minute you are thirsty and you're drinking water means you're already dehydrated. It's too late already. So you need to figure out what is the amount of water that you need for your body. It is different for different person. It is different for different people doing the same activity in the same environment. Okay. Another example I can give you, whenever we had events in Mumbai, international events, we found that, we just had an edge over our European competitors. And we were trying to figure out, what is it? And we finally analyzed, and it came down to water. No, I could get away, doing that same harsh work by drinking, say, 1.5 liters, where the European competitor needed 4 or 5 liters, and they didn't know how to consume it. And that is what was, giving us the edge, because we were that much sharper. We were, more conversant with the environment in any case. So that, made our performances much better. So these are the few things, nutrition, hydration, exercise, and sleep. Okay. Screen time. Now we talk about screen time, but let's be honest. Can you really escape screen time? Okay. Even as a parent, you find it very difficult to keep a child away from screen. You can have as many laws as you want, in your house, but it is virtually impossible. So we know its screen time is there. But can we just at least understand, okay, can we still give a lot of importance to sleep so that the negative effects of the screen time that you're doing, can be compensated? Can we compensate it by taking bilberry with lutein? Okay. I have noticed that it's such an amazing supplement that if you just take that and you realize that all of a sudden, if you have got even, little bit of problem with your eyesight and all, it all suddenly starts becoming really well. If you are tired and you feel that the tiredness is coming behind your eyes, you start feeling, it starts to look well and all. So if you just take care of these major factors that we talked about, nutrition, hydration, exercise, and sleep, you will stay away from lifestyle problems.
Thanks, Farokh. And I think what we have been doing is literally the opposite, ignoring all of this on a long-term basis, which is resulting in all the lifestyle diseases, but we expect things to change immediately. But it's a journey. Farokh, around this itself, since we were talking about nutrition, and one of the pillars of our program is also supplementation, right? Because there is a gap in nutrition. So we, integral part is organic supplements from Nutrilite. Now, I have 3 questions around this. Are supplements really required to bridge that nutrition gap? One, how long do we require that kind of a supplementation? Two, and the third question is, will our body not get used to supplementation or a better rice with a lower GI, or probably a diabetic atta versus a normal atta? Three questions around supplementation and nutrition.
See, the food that you eat gives you a certain level of nutrition. Okay. Depending upon your output, your body needs a certain level of nutrition. Okay. I'm not talking calories. I'm talking of nutrition. Okay. When at least, more than half a century ago, when I used to go to school, I found that everybody in my class, barely had any fat on them. There was one mota guy whom everybody used to call him Jadia. Okay. Today, if I go to school, I see, overweight is like definitely 90% is overweight, and most of them are obese, in the obese category. So basically, I'm not. And why is that happen? Because initially we had very little food, the calories were less, but the nutritional content was high. Today, what we are eating is food, all this fast food, junk food, and all is high in calories and low in nutrition. So the nutritional gap today, as compared to half a century ago, is widening. Now, if there is a nutritional gap, whether it's macronutrients or micronutrients, you're not going to die tomorrow. You're not going to die the next week. You're not going to die in the next month. But over decades of this nutritional gap leads to lifestyle problems. Okay. When you go to the, sometimes when you go to a hospital, you see people are so frail with osteoporosis that if you feel that if you touch them, their bones will break. Okay. That's not happened overnight. That's not happened when they got into the hospital. That's happened 40 and 50 years ago. Okay. They didn't look after their calcium requirement. They didn't know what to do to make sure that the calcium gets retained in the bones. So in order to bridge this nutritional gap, you need supplementation program. Okay. And I said earlier in my first answer also that if you were living on an organic farm, okay, and getting all the right nutrients, you don't need supplementation. But for the present lifestyle, especially in urban cities and even in rural areas, it's a luxury to own an organic farm of your own. And that is the reason why we do need supplements. Now, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of supplements available in the market. So how do you decide between a good supplement and a bad supplement? The formula is very simple. If you're taking a good supplement, your body will treat it like you're consuming food. So it gets to your next question, that how long should I keep taking the supplement? The answer lies in the question. How long do you think you need to eat food? It's exactly the same amount of time. If you think that you need breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day, then you need supplements for breakfast, lunch, and dinner in order to bridge the nutritional gap. That is the reason why I'm deadly against supplements made in the laboratories, okay, where it does not have organic elements in it. For example, if you're deficient in iron, okay, a doctor will prescribe you, an iron supplement. Now, when you break open that iron supplement, you'll actually find pieces of iron in it. Can you imagine just chewing rusted nails? Okay, that's not going to be, even if you do that, this thing will go up, but you're causing harm to your body. And that is why they don't give you supplements for a longer period of time. But if you're taking an organic supplement from spinach, okay, where you're getting the iron from the natural sources, then that's going to be good for your body. So the important thing is always keep monitoring. And I'll tell you now, a very important thing about or supplement which is so underrated and misunderstood is vitamin D. During COVID times, I read a lot of research papers and a lot of trials, okay, which showed that anybody who had vitamin D levels, okay, between 0 and 10, almost after getting COVID, the result was fit. They died. Okay. Between 10, between 11 and 20, the probability was still very high. Okay. 21 to 30, it was down to about 50%. But anything above 30, I'm talking of, now don't, there are two units in vitamin D. People make a big mistake. I'm talking of Ng stroke ml. Okay. And most people, when they get their vitamin D tested, it's nmol per liter. And the difference is 0.4. All right. So some people say, oh, what's mine is 40, that's very good. So sorry, that's not 40. Okay. That's hardly anything. Because it's, you're reading the wrong unit. So anybody who was from between 30 and 50, I found had almost zero chances of falling prey to COVID. Right? And anything above 50 to 100 ng per ml probably did not get COVID. Okay. Now, there has been a lot of talk of toxicity about vitamin D, and half of it is quite rubbish. Because the more research, the insect research you read, you find that any levels even up to 150, they are not toxic. And if these levels are there, I can assure you, no one will fall sick. And that is the reason why the pharma companies manage to get these levels down. Okay, so I really encourage everybody on this platform, if anything that you want to pick up from today's talk is to get your vitamin D levels tested. And if they are below 30 ng per ml, please, get back to us and we will show you how you can, increase those levels in a short period of time. You have nothing to fear if they are at least about 30. Okay, but I would, if you want to really get into the peak of health, then at least let it go above 50. And even if it crosses above 100, trust me, it is not toxic. Up to 150 is no problem. Okay, you'll really be well off. Right? So I hope I've answered all your 3 questions. How long you need to take it? As long as you need to take food. Okay. Difference
Will our
between...
body not get used to it having this, the vitamins?
It's the same question that suppose you're eating a banana every day. Does your body get used to eating bananas? If the answer is yes, the answer is yes over here. If the answer is no, then the answer is no over here. It's just like eating food. Okay.
I think the main difference here is we are eating organic supplements, which we know where the source is coming from.
As compared to non-organic. You can never, ever have non-organic supplements on a long-term basis. And that is the reason why it is so important to identify good quality organic supplement that helps you to keep bridging the nutritional gap and keeps you away from lifestyle diseases.
Thanks, Farokh. Farokh, around your first point, where for a good holistic health, you need nutrition, exercise, rest, hydration. And we've seen that when people in the community are following this day in, day out, probably with a higher consistency, because ideal situation to hai nahi, we're seeing good results. People are being able to control their, diabetic sugar levels, etc. And in a recent case, now I'm pointing this out because questions have come. There's a gentleman who did his gut reset. He had high triglycerides, his HbA1c levels were not within range, etc. He did his gut reset, improved his food plates, improved the timings. In fact, his walking was as per what you had recommended after every meal. and he had his supplements, and in 30 days he was able to lower his triglycerides levels and even his HbA1c levels, right? Is this all that is required? Is it really something that can be duplicatable and everyone can actually see this kind of a transformation, or this is a one-off case?
See, I'm a numbers person. I love numbers. Okay. So numbers don't lie. Now, this guy brought his triglycerides down from 600 and some 25 or something to 172. Now, this was just amazing change. Now, everybody is different. Okay. Everybody is different. Okay. Every person is different. So they you know, things to react differently for different people. But these are all numbers that are measurable. And when you look at these measurable numbers, you know, this person got really good results very quickly is because he almost followed everything to the T. All right. And the reason why he followed everything to the T, because he was having a big fight in the family. The family was putting a lot of pressure that are you gone mad? You know, you got all this medicine. And I told him to, stop taking any of this medicine because each of those medicine did have side effects. So, and I asked him, are you going to do this properly? Then there is no risk of stopping them. And, get onto the program properly and you will see in a short period of time, you will see the results. This is almost 100% predictable that if you do if you make the lifestyle changes, the numbers will show for itself. Now, this is what I like about technology, okay, that we are not shooting in the dark, we are not shooting blind. We have numbers to compare. And when we have numbers to compare, I feel extremely safe. It's a very safe place to be in because you're just not, guessing. You're taking the guesswork out of the whole equation. You're making sure that, you're moving on the right track and doing things properly. This is not a one-off case. We have had so many cases where somebody was on 35 units of insulin, brought it down. And many, many cases on the community have benefited from the program. So yes, trust me, it is simple common sense that lifestyle problems are not to be handled with medication. In fact, it's a question I'm throwing to the audience. Don't you think that lifestyle problems are best handled by changing lifestyle rather than be dependent on medication? People say, "Oh, what's a big deal? Take a pill." Yeah, it's an easy way out. But please remind yourself that that pill comes with consequences. Okay, there's a price to pay. And are you willing to pay that price for your health care?
Prescriptions are third largest reasons for death, in fact. Yeah.
After cardiac and cancer.
Right.
I hate people who get into this vicious circle. It all starts with 2 medicines, then it becomes 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 8, 8 becomes 15 medicines. And at some point they don't even know what they're, taking it for, And sort of it just becomes like a habit. So if you can form a habit to take medication, why can't you form a habit to change your lifestyle? It's so simple.
Yeah, thanks, Farokh. And I think this is something that has helped many of us when you always said measure, monitor, report. And if you can do that, the rest is taken care with your guidance, right, in the community. And that's how we transform our health. Well, I have one more question that had already come to me. In the meantime, if anyone has questions, you can, probably type it on the chat window, which I can ask after this last question. For women specifically, right? In the 40s, 50s, who are undergoing either perimenopause or menopausal system. This is the average age. Some even start early in the late 30s, but they experience weight gain, which is stubborn weight gain, which doesn't move, mood swings, severe muscle, nerve aches, etc., which impacts their lifestyle. So, what are the kind of exercises and diet that one should follow to have this, to be able to handle this? and have a positive balance of that cortisol that controls the stress.
See, the more you will exercise, so exercise basically divided into three parts. Okay. Aerobic exercise, muscle building exercise, and flexibility exercise. Okay. You don't want to, become stiff as you get older and older. Suddenly you find that picking up a piece of paper from the ground is not as easy as it was when you were 25. All right. It's like a struggle. And many old people talk about it. And it scares the hell out of me as to that I want to reach that level. So when you're talking of premenopause, so women should be guided, first of all, before that stage happens. So the stronger you are before that, the less you're going to suffer. But okay, let's say, assume you missed that part of the bus. Okay, and now you're into it. Still, I almost challenge you, I dare you, I double dare you. Please focus a lot more on exercise. And the more exercise you will do, the more happy you will be. And the lesser will be the impact of everything that you said, right from menopause. Muscle building exercise, weight gain, making sure that you're on a good supplementation program. You tend to lose iron. Okay. So, make sure that your hemoglobin levels are all right. Make sure that your calciums are all right, because you tend to get into osteoporosis. So please exercise. Exercise is very, very, very critical. Again, as I said, you don't need a gym. If you're going to a gym, great. But if you're not going to a gym, you don't have a gym, we can show you every single exercise that can be done in your house. In your house, in your office, you name it. I haven't found any person so far who has been able to convince me that they don't have time for exercise. Okay, I can show you that you can do exercise within the 24 hours available to you.
Okay, thanks, Farokh, for this. I have a question from the team. So there is, please advise how many hours of workout is ideal in direct sunlight for optimal absorption of vitamin D, and what is the best time for this routine?
Okay, now, the people just believe that if they are out in the sun, they won't have a vitamin D problem. Now, I was really out in the sun, trust me, really, really out, okay? 8 to 10 hours a day, and I had a vitamin D problem. Until I fixed it with supplements, okay, there was a problem that the bone density was showing that, it was getting weaker and weaker. And the minute I sort of figured that out and I started taking the right supplements, I was okay. So yes, if you can be out in the sun, it's good. All right. But if you can't be out in the sun, please still exercise. Okay. Exercise is very, very important. As you grow older, there is one thing that you got to be very careful of is sarcopenia. Okay. Sarcopenia is your body will start losing muscle. And when you start losing muscle at an older age, or you develop too much fat, there is a major problem. So you must balance out your exercise, and your muscle building exercise and your aerobic exercise separately, and your flexibility exercise separately. Because if the more muscle you build, the more rigid you get. But you need to find a way to be flexible while building muscle, and at the same time ensure that your aerobic fitness. Now, a rule, some rule of the thumb. If you can climb 6 stories without panting at the end of it, at a good pace, not that you're taking, going up one stairs and then taking rest and then going up. No, like going up with a reasonably brisk pace, And if you're not panting, that's a pretty good level of aerobic fitness. Okay. If you can lift at least your body weight. Okay. In peak of fitness, I used to lift twice my body weight here. Okay. Now, at least I can lift about 1.2, 1.3 times my body weight. So that is again a rule of the thumb. At least do whatever is your body weight, you should be able to lift. Okay. So that is as far as your muscles are concerned. And as far as flexibility is concerned, ensure that you can touch your hands to the ground without bending your knees, and put your whole palm down. Okay. A little bit of balance, because as you grow older, balance becomes very important. You need to make sure that you balance well. So give the body the right exercise. Don't worry too much about the part of the sun. And the reason why is that it also depends upon your body and your skin, right? So the darker you are, the less likely you are going to be able to absorb the vitamin D from sunlight. Okay. But it has its advantages. You're less likely to get skin cancer and things like that. You're less likely to get hurt with the harsh sun. So it's a toss-up over here. But as I said, if you can do some exercise in the sun, that's great. But don't make that a priority. Make the exercise a priority. Okay, even if you're doing it indoors or something, it doesn't matter. But make sure that you're exercising. And basically, exercise after every meal. At least do a little bit of brisk walking. Even 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Cover 1 kilometer, 1.5 kilometers, 2 kilometers, whatever. But do something after every meal. And that will keep your, whole digestive processes going. That will keep your gut reset going well. That will keep your pancreas happy. That will keep your liver happy. And all your organs will be in harmony. If the organs are in harmony, and your whole body is automatically in harmony. All right. So give exercise a priority. Don't get fixated on the sun and things like that.
Thank you, Farokh. Any other questions, folks? Farokh, just summarizing, I think the answer is not just one thing, but a combination of small changes across all areas consistently, or at least doing it on a long-term basis, that will yield results. And I can definitely vouch for it, folks. A lot of times we don't even start with the fear that there is so much to change, but as Farokh mentioned, if you just start and even do 30% of what he has just talked about, we actually, we can vouch for it that we see a drastic change, because unfortunately we have not taken care of ourselves for decades, right? So you will feel, just start, join the community if you're not yet there. Ask the person who has invited you tonight for this session how you can join the community, how you can start taking care of your health. Farokh mentioned of a very, very, pertinent point. Be ahead of the game. Today, you may not. Yes, Dr. Rakshit, please go ahead. You want to unmute yourself? Just a second.
Farokh,
Yes, doctor, go ahead.
one of my nephew, he's 50 years old and he has chronic constipation.
Yeah.
Along with there is a lot of gas formation. Now he has been treated by a lot of gastroenterologists also. He had hiatus hernia, which is now treated, but his gas formation, and because of that he gets a lot of abdominal pain and all that. Routine medicines we are already giving him, but this is a pretty chronic problem. Now, with what exercise and Nutrilite? Now he's already on.
Yeah, I strongly recommend that he first does a proper gut reset. Okay, for a 10-day program, for a proper gut reset, get the gut microbiome going correctly. I'm pretty sure that the gut microbiome balance must be really off in his case. Okay, so first is to get the gut microbiome in balance, get the good bacteria to 85%, bad bacteria to 15%. Then follow the process of eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner at the right time, and definitely, walk for about 15-20 minutes. Cover 2 kilometers, and you will realize that all is gas-based problem and all will just disappear overnight. I can almost guarantee you that.
Now, for at least because I had to get him slowly, gradually on that. So first of all, I started with the diet regime that we follow in Gut Reset. Now he has started taking fiber also, and we have also ordered his prebiotic probiotics as well, which is good. And he walks almost 45 minutes in the evening, which I have asked him to do twice after food. He can break down half
No,
an hour, two
no,
times a day.
I would suggest, since he has a chronic problem, I would
Hmm.
suggest that he does 20 minutes after every meal.
That is what I told him.
Have the breakfast before 9 o'clock, have
Hmm.
lunch by 1 o'clock, and have
Hmm.
dinner before 6:30. Okay.
Okay.
And make sure that he drinks enough water
Hmm.
between breakfast and lunch, and between lunch and dinner.
Correct.
And then automatically he will notice that he will not have this problem of gas, because the gas that is getting accumulated will get consumed here. He will not have the. But he must not eat junk food. He must not eat fast food. He must try and avoid all that stuff. Okay.
Yeah, that is, as I told you, that for that almost 15 days, the diet regimen he followed, that what we usually advise in a gut reset program.
So he just put him onto this timings, and then walk 2 kilometers in 20 minutes after every meal. I can tell others even 10 minutes, but because he is somebody who has got a bigger problem, I will put the benchmark at 20 minutes over here. Let him walk
Fine.
2 kilometers and make sure that. So suppose, for example, he cannot walk that fast. Let him walk for 20 minutes. Let him measure. Suppose he can do only 1.5 kilometers in 20 minutes. No problem. Let him do that for a week. Then next week, tell him to do 1.6. Every week, keep on increasing 100 meters. So in a matter of 5 weeks, okay, he will go from 1.5 kilometers in 20 minutes to 2 kilometers. There's no need to do more. In his particular case, I would rather have him do small, three brisk walks than doing 45 minutes at one time.
Yeah, I have already told him to walk for 30 minutes in 2 sessions after major meals. And I will just monitor.
Correct that to 20 minutes after every meal.
Okay, that is 3 times.
3 times.
Okay, fine enough.
Right.
Okay, thank you, Farokh.
Thanks, Dr. Rakshit.
Thank you
Prashant's
as well.
question is, Prashant's question is, what's the best way and time to have pre and probiotic capsules? Is any other Nutrilite should not have be had along with this, including fiber?
No. You can have any Nutrilight. It has nothing to do with it. But typically, you can have pre and probiotic after your meal, especially breakfast. And if your breakfast is reasonably cold, but if your breakfast is warm, I recommend that you take it 30 minutes after that.
Okay. Thanks, Farokh. And I think we will close tonight's session. Otherwise, I know we have a lot of queries, but you still have a forum where you can ask questions. That is, if you are on that WhatsApp community. And as I was saying, there may be many on this group who may not be having some, known lifestyle disorder, but as we always believe, stay ahead of the game. So follow this irrespective so that you don't get into that, because once we get into that whole cycle of having an issue, you need a lot more effort to come out of it, right? Okay, thank you so much, Farokh. I think Farokh deserves a big round of thanks and applause for his patience in guiding all of us and for tonight's session as well. We will continue to, Look forward to your guidance as always. And in this program and through this program, we look forward to touching thousands and thousands of lives. So do encourage your friends and family to join us so that we can make a positive difference. That's it from us. And we shall see you on Monday for a deep dive on a different topic. Do join us. Take care. Good night. God bless.